How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something a little different than what we've been doing. We're going to make a little makeshift storage rack, cart, whatever you want to call it, for my 5-foot tiller. I got this pallet when we had our computer desk downstairs delivered, and it's just about the right size. It's about a couple inches longer each side, and it's just about the right width. So what I'm going to do is I picked up some casters in my local hardware store, and I have some scrap pieces of OSB, or as some of the old timers would call it, when I was working in retail at one of the lumber yards, they call it SOB board. OSB, oriented strand board, right? Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get digging into this. I'm not going to do too much explanation of what I'm doing. Basically, I'm going to put a couple strips in the back side, and then I will be using these lockable casters that I picked up at the store, so that way we can wheel it around. I can lock it in place so it doesn't move. So we'll see how this goes. I'm excited for it. I like keeping my tiller inside, and my shop is only 24 foot by 24 foot, which quickly fills up with junk. So I know a lot of people just say, why don't you store it outside? I have plans for a yard building in the future, but it's just not on the cards right now. So what I'm going to do is so I can keep it indoors like I want, is I'm going to make a little movable rack so I don't necessarily have to have it hooked onto the 3-point to move it. So stick around and we will dig into this. So on the back side, I'm going to attach these down here on the outside. I've got some scrap 1x4 to make this pad a little wider, and then I also have some live screws which I'm going to use to attach it. So I'm going to get some of that 1x4, we'll cut it up, and then we'll go ahead and attach these wheels. I'm galvanized lag screws, 1.5 inches long. They're going to be about too long than I need, but it'll be just fine. And then I have some lock washers here to keep. We got the casters put on. I pre-drilled all the holes and I put these 3/8 inch lags in. They're a little bit long on some of these inside pieces, but it's not going to matter because I'm not going to stick anything in there. And if I did, the pallet fork is going to grab the top side of it. So I guess the next step here, we'll flip it over. I've got some scrap pieces of OSB. I wasn't going to go buy a whole new sheet for this because it's just going to get all dirty and wet and muddy for my tiller on it. So I'm going to flip it over here and we'll go ahead and see it takes me here to get the pipe zipped on, but then this is going to work out great. I can just wheel it around my shop. I got the tiller on it, and I can wheel it off to the side or wherever I want to put it if I don't want it that way. So I think this thing's going to work out really slick, and I'm already pretty happy with it. And I think it's going to be a great addition to the shop here. So let's go ahead and finish it out. I think these wheel bricks are going to look great. Everything's going to stay in place. And then be able to unlock them and go from there. So. right, we got it all finished up here. I got the OSB on top and screwed down, and I got it squared up. I used that drywall square there to run a line down, then used my circular saw and ripped it. It's not perfectly straight and it's not perfect, but it's gonna work fine for what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and bring the tiller in here and set it down and give it its first go. Hopefully it doesn't snap in half. These casters are more than rated for what I'm doing, but if the pallet isn't, we'll find out. I think it's gonna be just fine, but we'll give it a go here and see what happens. Turn off the brakes here. Just like that. 600 pounds is no big deal. Sweet. Just something to keep in mind when you guys are doing this is your overall lift height of your tractor. On a lot of the smaller subcompact tractors, that's one of the biggest issues, is how much you physically can lift your 3-point implements. And on this case, I had taken some rough measurements and I was going to be close, and I knew I was going to be close. And in this case, I was able to get it on, and I had about ½ inch to spare clearance to get it on there. Otherwise, I got it on just fine, but that's just something to keep in mind. And in this case, it worked out for me. It's really awesome how well this does move around. I'm really impressed. I mean, it's obviously got a little bit of weight to it, but it's something I can move around and store out of the way here in the shop, which I'm really excited about. And get it against the wall, or in this case, I can come over here and store it right where I want to, out of the way. You know, it's not in the way now, and I don't have to leave it out in the elements. So, and that's my big thing. Like I said, it's some people say, why don't you store it outside? Well, this is the only real expensive implement I have. I've got the pallet forks and the box blade, but they are significantly less expensive than the tiller was. So, for now, I'd like to keep it inside. Maybe it'll change in the future. But this was a quick project. The most expensive thing I had was the casters, and I had about 20 to 25 bucks in casters, but I had a rebate I had to use at our local hardware chain, or I guess lumber store, hardware, whatever you want to call it, Menards. So it didn't really cost me anything out of pocket at all. So, and it's a scrap OSB I had sitting around, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I know I'm going to enjoy it because it's one of those things when you've got limited space. I know when you build the shop, it's got plenty of room, ended up being full of crap. So I'm looking forward to having a little bit of more flexibility in here and getting me a little extra room back. So if you guys got any questions on what I did here, let me know. Put it down in the comment sections below. It's pretty straightforward. Just I think we measured the pallet here. It was just a pallet, like I said, was sent with some product on to our house. It's 3 foot wide and 76 inches long, so 6 foot 4 inches. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, sometimes you can go buy things, and I'm just looking for a simple, easy, cheap ways to store things in the shop, and I think we did achieve that today.